Hello, good evening. Welcome to the third episode of Soul Food Wellness Stories through Spirituality. It's been an interesting 2 weeks where we spoke to two very different people, Aditya and Hura, listening to their different stories. And today we have with us another interesting personality. Yeah, he's here. One second. Yes. So, as I was saying, today is the third episode of Soul Food Wellness Stories through Spirituality. Today we have with us Vishal. Hi, Vishal. Welcome to the third episode of
Good
Soul
evening.
Food. Hi.
Good evening,
So,
Deepti.
introduce Vishal to you before we go on to listening to his story. He is someone who typically the therapists call a type personality for whom logic is something that works, logic, rationality. For him, something that he sees is what is believable. But in the last 5 years, as he got exposed to different aspects of energy healing, he found his outlook towards life changing. He found how he responded to things changing. And I think that was a very brilliant story to bring forward to people, that someone who is a type A personality, if my voice is better. So I think what I found interesting about Vishal's story is that someone who's been, like I said, extremely rational and logical, but when he got exposed to the healing, energy healing space, he actually saw changes in him in the way he looked at life, and that's the story that I want to bring about today. That how each one of us in our daily lives can look at spirituality in a very different way. So welcome, Vishal.
Thank you, Deepti. And that's a new way of getting introduced. And this is the first time I got introduced this way.
Right. I know that you're used to being introduced with your pedigree, with your company name, with your this, but this is soul food. Here we don't look at all those things. Here we're bringing about stories which have been affected by spirituality and talking to people about how spirituality is extremely personal and it can mean different things to different people. So I think what I would like to start with is to first see if you can tell me that in the last 5 years, especially when things have uh, really changed for you, what happened that as a person who did not understand the energy healing space has started believing that this is what the exposure to these healing therapies has helped change your outlook.
Sure. Thanks for that. So I've been always been very logical and visual person, right? But as you rightly said, in the last 5 years, actually, some of my close friends and family actually moved into this space, basically the energy healing space. And I realized that there's something which is beyond the tangible, right? Normally, it's you clearly see what is happening, right? But in this case, you can't clearly see it. But yet, there is something which is happening and which is actually becoming tangible, right? I know it's becoming a little confusing what I'm talking. Uh, so, though I'm not sure how this whole energy healing world works, I still don't understand it very clearly how it operates. But actually, I've seen miracles happening around me. And in fact, I have myself experienced the same uh, using energy healing. So, in fact, over the course of time, I've seen my relationships have improved. New opportunities have cropped up, both in professional and personal space. And basically, I've started looking at life itself differently. Right? So, yeah, energy healing has helped me. And it has given me a different paradigm to look at life itself.
Wow, that's an interesting thing that your whole outlook towards life changed. So before we get into how your outlook towards what is your new outlook, how about giving us a slight insight into, because I know after my discussions with you that your growing up years were in stark contrast to where you are today. So if you could give us an insight into that, so that it will give us a perspective from where you were to where you are now.
Sure. So yeah, I grew up in a. So my dad was a scientist. I mean, he's a scientist. He's retired now, but he was a scientist, and we we used to stay in a colony which was full of scientists, right, and full of bright kids, and extremely logical, extremely scientific. We never knew anything which is beyond logic. In fact, I used to always believe that spirituality is equal to religion, right? And I used to actually run away from spirituality. Reason being, in fact, I used to equate meditation also with spirituality equal to religion. So I used to think that, you know, this is something which has to be done by people who are retired, who are actually monks, who have gone to either Haridwar or they're sitting in a cave in Himalayas. They are the only people who actually should be doing spirituality or meditation. But yeah, but soon realized, I mean, in the last few years, I realized that that's not the thing. You know, spirituality is it's a mindset, right? It actually helps you change the way you think. It helps you change that you no longer have boxes. Like I was talking about, when I grew up, since I was very logical and we were middle class, we always had a lack mentality, and that lack mentality, walked along with me across my entire professional life, right? And I always used to think that, uh, you know, uh, that the resources are always limited, right? And there's nothing beyond that, and there's always that feeling that I can't achieve it because there's only so much limited available. So I think that's what I carried along all the right because of my scientific thing. But yeah, in fact, my dad used to always say that if there are 100 crows you see and all the crows are black, right, that means crow is black. But there are crows which are also gray, and there are some white crows also sometimes, right? And those are things which probably cannot be explained by science always. But it's a similar thing. Energy healing is also not exactly black and white. It exists, right? And that's what I understood.
Right, right. So basically, when you say that for you, what changed in your outlook was your mindset. So it means that it became more expansive. You were willing to explore the white crows and the gray crows.
Correct. Yep. So let me just give you a little history of I after I did my graduation and post graduation and worked in a couple of organizations. I actually switched to sales. Right? I was not in sales initially. And, you know, in fact, one of my mentors um, in the organization I used to work for came back and told me that, hey, Vishal, you're doing a wrong thing. You would never succeed in sales. Um, so he said, you don't have the mindset, for it, right? So, well, I did fairly well. I did a couple of multinationals, but never delivered spectacular results, right? Or spectacular performances because I still carried that lack mentality, right? And could never get rid of it at all. But as I took up this journey in the last few years, in fact, last 2 years, there was something which different happened, right? And I actually started breaking the standard norms and started getting results which are far beyond.
Right. No, I know when we were talking, you mentioned, I think that is something that all our listeners would love to listen about your story, how last year you actually took a customer, you increased the customer revenue from X to 100X, which was like a brilliant thing.
Yes. So in fact, just share some examples, and this is phenomenal. Probably this has happened in first time in my life as well as the history of this organization also that I achieved my numbers in the first half of the year itself. Right. So normally it's a 12-month number revenue game which will happen. I did the numbers in just 6 months, right? And this happened because I gave myself the target and I let it out in the US and said that there is no shortage of resources, and this was just and I ended the year with 300%, which was the highest award. So
Right.
and I an award and that was 2020. Even in 2019, I did some very very creative things with limited resources, right? And I said, so what? We have limited dollars for marketing, but we came up with really, really creative stuff where the world recognized us, right? And in fact, beginning of 2020, I was invited into a sales conference in US, and just before the pandemic, went there and actually delivered a lecture to the entire sales organization that how we did differently. So yeah, and despite the fact that the Western world had unlimited resources for them, and we had limited resources, but our mindset was not limited, right? So we knew it that help will come to us from any quarter, and we will succeed, right? So
Right.
yeah, so as you said that I did 300% and 6 months quota, and I actually signed up one of the largest deals for the company, right, which was one of the biggest. So
Right.
and yeah, and in fact, did 30% of the entire region's revenue alone, right? I have 40 sales guys, and I did it alone. Uh, you can imagine. So 39 sales guys did two-thirds of the revenue, and I did 30% alone. So yeah, so this is unlimited mindset. Once you start believing in it, and there is no limit to it.
Right. So would you say that for you, because like this is the third episode, in the last two episodes, we have looked at how people look at spirituality differently. So would you say that for you, spirituality is more about expanding your mindset in different areas?
Yes, spirituality is all about, as you rightly said, being expansive, uh, in, and removing what is limiting the limiting factors, uh, whatever is telling you that there is shortage of resources. Uh, I mean, spirituality actually helps. It's a mindset to shift your thought process itself. Right? So I do meditate nowadays, and as I said initially, I always thought that meditation is not for us, but meditation is help. Meditation it actually helps you bring that calm. It actually brings you tells you that if there's chaos outside, uh, that chaos you can live in that chaos and still thrive, right? And
Wow.
that it has actually helped me bring that calmness, and that has actually helped me, walk through those unlimited potential ideas, right? And bring in the creativity to anything which we work on.
Right. Yeah, no, I think what I loved about what you said was, like for you, when you look at mindset, it's not just about abundance, but you're defining abundance in very different ways, because the way you explained abundance is that it's also creativity, it's productivity, it's so many different ways. Abundance is not just money as we generally tend to look at, because in today's world, when the word abundance or lack comes, it is generally associated with assets, with money. But what you have said in the last 15 minutes, what I found amazing about it is that for you, spirituality has led to an mindset, an abundance mindset, which means that abundance is knowing that there are resources available, knowing that creative ideas come up, your productivity comes up, other people and opportunities come up in your life. So if you could
Right,
just
and
expand that a little bit.
sure. Uh, so as you rightly said about abundance, it actually helped me shift my mindset, and I started looking at my customers and deals very, very differently. Uh, Earlier, it was all about bargaining, negotiating, uh, and actually believing that we're not true partners or not equals, right? But uh, with this new shift which I got, I always believe that what we are offering is high value, and there is no negotiation. And the customer also started believing in that, right? Because I was throwing out in the universe that, hey, what we are doing is best for the customer. So it also helped them start looking at us as deeper partners. And how do we look at partnership? Uh, in fact, it has helped me focus on what's critical and cut the noise, right? So I've been able to communicate much better. I've started being more grateful. In fact, I'm always, in fact, I've become a big believer of gratitude, and I've started giving. Initially I used to always feel very constrained on giving credit to team members, to my peers, my seniors, uh, my juniors, whoever, right? But now, it's no doors bound, right? I actually like to give credit to gratitude, and my thanks to people. Uh, Say that, hey, because of you guys, I succeeded, or we succeeded together as a team, right? So gratitude is also one big tenet of spirituality. And, as soon as I give gratitude, I feel very fulfilled, right? I believe that spirituality has enveloped me, and it brings in a new calmness. So yeah, that's the shift in mindset which has come up with me. And I've already talked about the kind of results which came in thanks to this.
Right, right. So tell me, to the millions of us out there who we still even living in boxes, and we still live with that, whole feeling of lack, that, okay, this is what I want, but asking for something beyond this is not right. What would you tell all of us?
Well, I'm not a master or a guru. And as I said, I haven't got a chance to actually go and sit beside the Ganges and think that, yes, what is spiritual? But
No, your life experience.
sure. It's more like and yeah, my limited advice, or I would say 2 cents, is that you should break the stereotype. Um, you know, challenge the norms. You should, it's always easy to just fit into that standard box and continue to do, things as prescribed. I know it's important to follow processes and be part of a framework, but there are always ways and means where you can do things ethically and within the norms, but we get creative, right? Um, I'm just giving an example of the customer where we was able to zoom the revenue of 100x in less than 3 years or 2.5 years, right? So it's spectacular performance, and it happened because I broke a small norm, right, where the customer was asking X and we were continuously offering Y, and you know there was a dead solution which was available, and nobody's seeing it. Right? It's just about seeing that Z solution and going and offering and telling the customer, and they just loved it. So uh, it's about, as I said, it's about breaking that stereotype and not getting limited by the resources which you have. Right? You always think that, hey, will my finance team approve it, or X team? But did you? If you don't try, how will you get? I can give an example of my one of my friends. I mean, this is outside my spirituality, but you know, they're they're and they are entrepreneurs, and they actually pitched to a big worldwide, and they got rejected. But this entrepreneur actually went and told them that, hey, I know there's a risk, but these are 5 extra things which we can do, and we can make sure that you will never get this. And they got the order. So I'm just saying that why do you think that you are limited? You are not limited. Because help can actually come to you from any quarter, right? It's important to actually let it out to the university, and life is always full of possibilities. So never think that you will be shut down, or you will be short on resources, and but you can get these opportunities only if you're open to receive them. If you're closed, if you're keeping your hands tied in, uh, the opportunities will just pass by and you'll miss it, right? And that's important, that spirituality actually helps you to calm you down, so that when your mind is calm, you're able to actually receive these new vibes, new energies which come in. So yeah, that's what I would want to advise, that hey, open your boxes, don't live in those cages. Think of different ideas, and it's going to help you. It's going to help you be successful, and successful not only, right? That's not the only way of success or abundance, that you rightly said. Uh, in every aspect of life, right? As you said, having better relationships, having a peaceful night's sleep, right? Uh, most of the times people are very perturbed, and they're not able to sleep well, right? When I remember when I was doing the biggest deal, I used to still have a very good sleep. I was never tense about it, right? Because I knew it was going to come.
Right.
Sure. So yeah, that's
So for you, spirituality is also giving you a deep belief in yourself that yes, I can, because there are resources supporting me even if I can't see them right now.
absolutely, absolutely. As I said, it can come from any quarter. So you have to keep your vistas open. Right? There could be avenues everywhere, right? And it may just come in, right? And it may not come in sometimes, but that's okay. But you have to give it a fair shot. That's the important thing.
No, I loved what you said, especially about being open to possibilities, because that's one of my life mantras, that never say never to what is, because you don't know what is around the corner in your life.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
think that was brilliant. In case anybody has any questions to ask Vishal, please put it in the comments. But otherwise, Vishal, this was brilliant the way you explained what spirituality meant to you, because this is very different from our usual interviews where we talk about a lot more about deeper things. I think what we spoke about today was very, very practical. And the examples you gave, like, like how in your corporate job, which most of us are in, how we can actually look at things differently. So
Perfect.
thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this. Thank you for coming to our platform and talking about this story, because I hope that there's someone out there with whom your story resonates and they can make that slight shift in themselves, which can help them to open up to new possibilities and look at life differently. As you said, for you, spirituality is an expansive mindset. And I think that's a brilliant way of looking at spirituality. So thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you to all the listeners who are there. We'll see you next week. Next week is a slight change in timing. We will be meeting at 8 o'clock, and we have with us someone called Abhilash Gupta, who is an upcoming singer. In fact, he's recently launched his new single with Sunidhi Chauhan. So we will be having him on our Soul Food Wellness Stories, and he'll be talking about how spirituality has helped his singing and his music career. So we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.